Mix the hues, create those fuses you make. Throw it on, let's see what happens. This is fun, it's pure passion. The colors are bright.
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving, the home of everything power carving and epoxy related. And I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I wanted to talk to you about TEMU, because love it or hate it, I think it's getting more and more popular. It's almost the new Sheen, I think, in a lot of respects. And I'll be honest, I'm not an affiliate of theirs, and I've had very mixed experiences. So I've had some products that were absolutely brilliant and probably about 40% cheaper than I could find them on Amazon. And I've had other products that were absolutely useless. So the products that I've mainly had problems with so far tend to be electrical items or woodworking items, so drill bits, things like that. They just seem so blunt and don't actually seem to do the job that they're designed for. But touch wood, everything I've ordered epoxy wise and molds wise seems to work. So going to do a bit of an unboxing video, I suppose, for this one. I've actually spent enough with them through those little games that you have at the start to get a £90 credit. So this is a £90 order from TEMU. Most of it will be epoxy related. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the products and see what we think to them. So here we go, guys. This is probably where you see me get completely tangled up in TEMU wrapping and things like that, because there's quite a lot in this bag for the money. So I'm just unwrapping everything at the moment, and we'll go through it piece by piece, because if I'm being honest, I can't even remember what I ordered. So, by the way, if you like the table as well, that was just something that I upcycled. I decided that it was basically I saw it on a site in the UK called Gumtree, and mango wood is getting less and less popular now, so I decided to buy it and I engraved that design in it, and then I wood burnt it, and I think it looks pretty good. So getting straight into it, the first mould, quite a large one actually. I expected this to be small with it being from TEMU, because most of what you tend to get from TEMU tends to be smaller than pictured. But that is quite a significant mould. And I like the fact that it's sort of half of the mould is the butterfly, and then the other half is the flowers. So looking forward to playing around with that one, because I think that'll make some pretty cool wall art. But seems like a decent mould. Reasonably thick silicone, although I don't think these things ever last that long, and I would always use some silicone sort of mold release spray if you're going to be using them often. So next one is Chameleon powder, and I think this was about £9, and look at all of this. So you've got a turquoisey one, a coppery based one, more of a pink tone there. That's sort of a sand with bits of pink. Another bluish one, darker blue, sort of a purpley one. So, and again, a bit of a gold one. So we've got what, 8 there, roughly £1 each. Now, if you look at some of these Chameleon mica powders on your more popular resin websites, one like that on its own will probably cost you anywhere between £10 and £15. So for half that, I've got all of these. And I think with mica powders, the ones I've trialed so far, you can't go wrong, to be honest. So try them from TEMU. And I am going to be testing these in a few future projects, and I'll let you know how we get on with them. But again, for the price, really happy with those. Next one, a bog standard jewellery mould, because I'm going to be starting to do a few different projects with regards to pendants, and I'm actually going to see if I can set up a store and actually do what most people say you can do, which is sell them. I got these mainly to trial with UV resin, which I'm hoping I've ordered some as well, which hasn't arrived as yet. But I like the variety of different pendants I can do with this. I like the variety of different shapes. And again, I think it was about £2 or £3. So as long as I get, I don't know, 10 uses out of that mould, I'll be really happy with that. And I like all the different shapes. And let's see what we can do. But again, that's another good mold. Oh, this is one that I'm actually a little bit excited to try. Another mold. As you can see, there's a trend happening here. But this was the animal mold. So these frogs I have seen all over Facebook at the minute with different epoxy ones. So I can't wait to do my first frog. Again, looks like a good sturdy mold to try. And what I'm going to try and do is use some of that Chameleon powder, I think, with this and really make it pop. But I didn't just want a mold of a frog. I found a 3-pack for about an extra £2 with a snail and also a lizard. So almost sort of an amphibian creature type mold, but I'm looking forward to playing around with those. Again, they seem well built. They've all got the stands in as well, which means that they stand on their own. The frog, I think, will use quite a bit of epoxy, so probably not advisable to use sort of UV resin for that. I'd probably stick with your standards. And the same with any of them, actually, because they're all a little bit deeper than sort of, I would say, 2 or 3 centimetres, which I don't like to go that deep when it comes to UV resin. But again, really happy with those. I think it was about £7 for the 3. So I don't think you can go wrong. Next one, which I think is pretty popular at the moment, is, I don't know if you can see, but it's this Tree of Life design in a pendant. And what I want to do is try a few different designs with different resins and see if I can make that tree really pop. Again, seems like a pretty good size for a pendant as well. And it's got that tree design in them. And there's 6 different designs in that. So again, that will be on a future project. Standard pipettes, mixing cups and things like that. So if you're anything like me, you're not very good at cleaning your molds and therefore get through an awful lot of these. But again, I think that was about £2 for all of those pots, which is really useful for the smaller projects with those smaller pots. The next one is different size globes. Now I thought it'd be really cool because I'm quite keen on my woodwork as well as my epoxy. To look at these molds, again, that one's quite small and that could be used for all sorts. Actually, I really like that mold. Hopefully it won't come out with that square bit on the end, but we'll have a look. That's huge. But as soon as I saw this and I saw the different sizes, there's one thing that popped in my mind, which I don't know if you ever had one as a kid, but there's those little solar system hangers, which are normally made with the cheap plastic versions with like fishing line and things like that. But I actually thought with these, you could make a really cool solar system sort of mobile for a kid's room or even for an adult's room, you know. And I love the different sizes in there. I think that they would make a great solar system. Again, they all seem to stand. That big one is going to use an awful lot of resin though. So again, that one's probably going to get used either sparingly or in a large project. But yeah, really happy with those. Again, all the different sizes. I can see lots of uses for those and hopefully you'll see them in future projects. Another packet of Chameleon powders. Again, some slightly different colours and tones in that one. Not going to get them all out. I went through the last one. Chameleon powders, so cheap on TEMU, and if they come out half as good as the others that I've used in the past, well worth the money. Now this one, if I can get it open, again, something surprisingly to say I'm just getting into resin I haven't done yet is coasters. Now, the great thing I thought with this one is it comes with the stands. So that will make your stand. This will make your stand for the square ones. This will make your stand for the circular ones. And this will make your stand for the hexagonal ones. And it comes with 4 of each. Now, again, they look like pretty good coasters. And if you're anything like me, when you do sort of larger projects like canvas pours and things like that, you get a lot of overspill. And what I was thinking is it'd be useful to have 1 or 2 of these at the side of me every time I do one of these larger projects to pour the overspill in, because that could be enough for a coaster. And you know what, if you get 4 or 5 quid for a coaster, it's better than throwing the money away. And I really like those stands that come with it because, again, most people just don't like leaving coasters lying around. But I'm also thinking of doing some wood and epoxy projects with these, where I can actually put little bits of wood on the inside of those and then just fill it with epoxy, and I think it will give it a really good effect. So again, I think for the full set, which is 4 different stands and 4 different coasters for each one, it was something like 12 quid. Now, when I've looked at other websites, 1 set on their own are around about 20 quid. So again, I don't think you can go wrong with those from TEMU. Again, I'll let you know how they work out in a future project. These I thought were really cool as well. Just some little seashells to put in a few of the projects. I do quite like doing sort of marine-based scenes and things like that. And I think that was about 4 quid for all of those tiny little shells. But I think they're going to look amazing in some of my future projects. So again, I don't think you can go wrong. They do look like real seashells to me. More mixing pots. Some silicone mixing pots because I'm fed up of throwing the plastic cups away. So I thought at least this way, if I'm lazy and I leave it in there, I can actually just crack it out once it's cured, or just clean them down with alcohol wipes. But I wanted some silicone mixing bowls. Looks like there's a large one, 4 of the medium-sized ones, and 4 of the smaller-sized ones as well. Also get some spoons in there and things like that, and some more pipettes. And I think that was about 6 quid. So again, I don't think you can go wrong. This is some pendants, just some blanks, because again, as I said, I'm going to start looking into doing some jewellery with UV resin and things like that. In fact, no, I take it back. This is for key rings. Again, I thought with those, I can quite easily just have a little mould by the side of me with larger projects, and any excess epoxy, throw it in there and make a cute little keychain. If it sells 3 or 4 quid, it's 3 or 4 quid. And I think these were literally £1. And I think there's 20 of each in there for it. Pardon me. This was another pendant set. Now, this was a jewellery set, and I think it was like 12 quid for everything. But I like the variety in it. So, if we open it up, you've got all of these different shapes and designs. So there's even an Illuminati one there, which I think I'm going to have some fun with. All popular shapes and designs, which you can turn into different pendants or earrings, as you can see there. All of these different molds, which I think will be useful for different pendants. And then you get all of the attachments just to make them into actual pendants that you can wear. So again, looking forward to playing around with those in a future project and seeing what we can make with them. Another large mould, which is kind of a sun mould. So if you look at this, again, quite big. I was expecting it to be smaller because it was from TEMU, but that is a good size. I would say it's probably about 10 inches across. And if you look at the design, it's perfect to fit a mirror in the middle once it's all done. But I really like the detail in that and think I can make some really cool projects with it, or incorporate that with my woodwork projects and have an epoxy sun in the woodwork projects. So again, like that. I think it was about £3 or £4. So again, I don't think you can go wrong at that price. Running out of room. And this was all for that £90 in credit what they gave me. This one, I haven't got a clue. Oh, sorry, it was just little thank you bags. And I think there's 250 bags in there for about £1. So if I do start selling things, just a nice little touch to have a thank you bag to actually put them in before you actually post them. Another coaster set, so slightly bigger. Again, it comes with the stand, so I thought that would be really useful for wood projects. My offcuts with wood, what I'm planning to do is cover sort of half of it with wood, fill the other half with epoxy, and it should make some really nice coasters. And then the last two. So again, I've seen this little guy popping up everywhere on the internet, and I'm excited to play with this. It's a little French Bulldog mold, really cute, and I think I'll be able to make some really cool little resin objects with that. Again, it looks like it will take up quite a bit of resin, but again, it looks like a cute little mold, which I'm going to enjoy playing with, and I'll show you that on a future project. And then last but not least, we have another kit. Now this kit was a different resin kit, and what I liked about it is, especially for when I'm going to be doing the smaller projects with UV resin, is it comes with all of the smaller items. If I can get it open. So lots of little pipettes and mixers, lots of tiny little molds, which I really like, because these little cabochons, or I think that's what you call them, you could actually put these into wood projects, and they look amazing just for little pops of using different materials. So I'm looking forward to playing with those. Again, there's some decent sized pendant molds of different sizes and shapes. Love the jigsaw puzzle one. I think that'll be quite a popular one, depending on what you put in them and what designs you do. But yeah, again, that's those. And some standard rectangular ones. Now, I think I'm going to be using those mainly for, again, the wooden resin pendants that I'm planning on making. But again, you can use them for anything. And if you look here, there's almost a his and hers heart-shaped one, where if they come together, great for couples they are. And I think they'll be really popular, especially around Valentine's Day or birthdays. But not only that in this set, one thing that I really like, just to add a little bit of bling, you get all of these different materials, different glitters, different sparkles, things like that. There is, let's see, have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 48 different small little jars. And you know what? When I finish with those jars would probably make quite good pendants filled with epoxy and something else. So yeah, really like that. Just gives me a chance to play with different materials and see what I can make. And then also in the kit, there's the different standard molds for the rings, which I liked. That looks like a tiny little cat mold that was in there. A circular one, a little dome one. Now, I want to do some projects with these, but what I've heard from people is they don't seem to close very well. So the idea is you fill up that half, you let that cure, you then put this half back on, fill it in through the hole, and you should get a perfect sphere. Now, what I've heard some people say is that when you put the second half on and fill it, it starts to leak out the side. So if you've got any tips for me on how to stop that happening, let me know. From what I've seen, a hot glue gun's the best one, or a bit of tape around it. So I'm gonna have a play around with that and let you know how I get on. But it also wasn't too big, that mold. I quite liked it because it won't take up an awful lot of epoxy, and you could have some really good effects, I think, in a piece of that size. Then you get different jewelry attachments to make things into key rings or for pendants. And you also get a mini hand drill, which I liked, to actually put those drill holes in. I'm going to probably be using my Dremel, if I'm being honest, from my woodworking projects. But if not, and I just want to do a few bits of an evening rather than going out to my workshop and actually using the Dremel, again, having that little hand tool is going to be really useful with the different size drill bits. Lots of different mixers, lots of different, again, pendant molds. Now, if I can get pieces of wood, those exact sizes, that's going to save me an awful lot of time to just put a piece of wood in the bottom, fill it up with epoxy of my choice and maybe a couple of bits of glitter and things like that. But then Bob's your uncle, you've got a ready done pendant. So again, looking forward to playing with those. Be great if they came in like sets of 10 or something. So you could do sets of 10 different ones at the same time, but they always seem to come in individual molds. But as you can see, I've got a full table there. 90 quid from TEMU. I looked at Amazon just in comparison from some of your slightly bigger branded websites and things like that. And the same equivalent order would cost me anywhere between 160 and 200 pounds. So half the price essentially. Most of it was here within a week as well. So great with that. And what I've always found with TEMU, if I do have a problem with a product, I report it to their customer services and I get it refunded. So it's pretty straightforward. And why pay more if you don't have to? So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. There's going to be lots of content coming out. As you can see, I've got lots of projects to do now with the resin. So stay tuned. If you like the channel, make sure you subscribe and like or put a few comments in. It really helps the channel, helps the algorithm, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. But as far as I'm concerned, for 90 quid from TEMU, and this was my free voucher, just to add that in, from what I spent last time on different resins, but for 90 quid, I think that's an awful lot of product. So hopefully it all works out and you'll see it all featuring in future products. Thanks a lot.